Hey there, thanks for joining me on this tutorial of making a custom intro. I just made a tutorial on creating your custom background. Here it is. And so now we're going to take it one step further. We're going to insert a video track because now what we're going to do is layer a text on top of it. So you want to make sure that you have your auto ripple off, because if you have it selected, then it could push everything else down further. So you want to right click and say Insert Media. This is for PC. Otherwise, you can go over to your Media Generators tab, or you could go old school and just say Insert Text Media. All of that works. So whatever you want to say, type it on in there. And then I'm using Vegas 13, which is great. So you can just actually adjust over here like in real time live on the screen. So I'm going to stretch that out a little bit, and you can see here's the little notches. It will repeat itself, but I personally don't like looking at that. The reason that is happening is because it set a duration of this 5 seconds. If you're not going to put like a movement of any sort with keyframing, then this would work. That's fine. But once you start keyframing, then it's not going to be the appropriate amount of time. It will just be 5 seconds instead of 15 seconds. Here we go. So now you can see it's adjusted and the notch is right there. So I like to bring it back to the end of the frame. So we're going to be working with keyframing. You want to make sure that you are following right along. I'm going to insert another video track because you can have, great, Iris Productions, perfect, but then, what about something else fancy here, like flipping, or you could add whatever you wanted to. I'm not going to get into the flipping today. I'm just going to get into Lens Flare, but let's add in another text on this different line of video. Insert text media. And then when you do that, you can independently change the colors. Easy, just makes sometimes it a lot easier, quicker to keep them separated. So now you just adjust your font to however you like it. To put an outline, you have to select an outline width. You can see that the outline is here, but in order to get anything, you have to activate it. And then you can put whatever color you want as that outline color, but I'm just like a default to black. But if you had a black background and you still wanted an outline, it's pretty obvious. And then we can adjust our drop shadow, which, oops, I like to do. And with this, you just have to shadow enable. You just have to click it. And then right away, it has this default, but, you would just adjust all that. Now, when I am using a shadow and I'm going to be using a lens flare at the same time, just be really careful if you want to get like super technical with where your shadow is, because then people will be like, well, that's not really where the shadow would be, and people can get critical. If you make tutorials online, you'll know. Now I'm going to adjust this other title up here. Oops. Now, when you go underneath advanced tracking, this is something fun to know about. This will, as you can see, tracking is bringing in your letters. It's like, or extending them. So sometimes you might like what the font looks like, but it's not fitting properly, and there you go. So I often adjust tracking. Line spacing is perfect if you are like a credit roll or something and you have lines and lines and lines of text. You can just take your spacing and adjust that. Super helpful. Okay, that's seriously good enough for me. Okay, so color corrector is also something just I like to use because you can like maximize a tool and get like your gain, your saturation, and all your colors all in one like area. You could do this like through saturation or through even black and white, different things, but I just think it's a little bit more fun. Anywho, I'm just gonna, get it to where I like it. I hate flare. Flare is awful, but we're just gonna go with it. Next. Okay, so let's just open this track. Okay, so I'm going to fade out from black into this title, come into flare, just fade that out, fade this out, cut this, and then fade back down to black. I'm just going to mark in and out. That's just something I like to do. So you can actually right click on this little bar area and say loop playback. And then when you are watching it, you could just like let it go, and then you can watch your effect, and see where you need to change it and where you don't need to change it. Okay. So that looked really good. And let's say for my transition first, I'm going to, insert something funky, like a flip around or a spiral or, yeah. Just say fly out. And you can adjust how many flips and whatnot it has. Okay. So you can see how you can just, whatever you really want to do with it is fine. Finally, okay, so now we're going to have fun with sun flare. Okay, so let's look for it. It's right here. Okay, so go to lens flares. Light ray, wow. Okay, ping. Now you can see here is my lens flare. And then you can select all different types. Intensity. Scale. Not that, but more like this. Take down that hot spot. You could change the color if you wanted to make it more like the sun, which the sun is not white. The sun's more really reddish. There we go. Okay, and here we go, some rays, if you want rays. Which is pretty. Okay, so here's now where I'm going to start maybe making some animation. And then I'm also going to affect the pan and crop at the same time because I want to kind of trek along. I think, yeah, I'll do this. So here's my keyframe, and we can drive that over here further as far as we can. So you can see where I would have faded up because I am synced with my cursor here to my timeline. And if you don't have that selected, then it will move in here and it won't show you what's happening in real time on your timeline. Okay. So we'll go along a little bit. Now this is adjusting the text. I'm moving the text. I'm going to add a keyframe. Then I'm actually going to just select this where I can go left and right. So I'm not, all over the place when I'm making my keyframe. Go a little bit further on down the line. Just keep doing the same thing. And it boings out. Text is good. Now I'm going to adjust lens flare. So I'm going to go into the event FX. This is activated for me to go into hotspot position. And I'm going to go into animate. Make sure you can see your window down here. So here's the beginning of the clip. Here we go. So we will add a keyframe. Move this lens flare. Add a keyframe. Keep on rolling. See when it pops out, and then I'll probably add another keyframe. There. Okay, now that we have that, let's see what that looks like. Looks awesome so far. Now the thing that is missing is like a reflection. And I like to do this in a couple different ways. So the way I'm going to show you is Sony Lens Flare. But the thing is I'm applying it within Iris Productions text. So the lens flare isn't going to be anywhere other than on my text. And that's how I want it to be because it's like the sun is going to be reflecting off of it. So let's get it going. The thing is until you just kind of play around with these different things, you're really not going to know, how it looks until you try. I'm actually going to go, okay, so it would probably be right here. And you can just, drag this. So we're going to want to animate this position. Here we are. Good, 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 good. It's already wanting, I want to change it now. So here's that. Tracking along. Just following my lens flare, making it look natural. And you have to take your time and go frame by frame because this is keyframing. I go over keyframing in another tutorial. And if you'd like, you can check it out. I'm going to get rid of flare though. I don't like flare. It was just kind of to show. Okay, let's preview. Oh, what do you think? I think it looks so cute. I love it. Anyhow, once you render it out, it would be smoother, and I'm running another program. And so if you have problems, just make sure that you go to like preview and go to auto. And if it's really that bad, you'll just have to go to draft and say auto. And then at least you can kind of see what your effect is doing in real time, depending on how powerful your computer is and, you know, all that kind of other things factor into it. But there you go. I hope this helps, and please subscribe. Love to hear if you had any ideas for other tutorials you'd like to see. So thanks so much for watching.